Welcome back to the Section 10 podcast, episode 458, presented by Underdog Fantasy. It is the home of your 5-2, second place Boston Red Sox. My name is Jared Carrabis, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Coley Mick, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Tyler Milliken, and he killed his dog Bullet, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room. Steve, how you doing?
What up, sick? Oh no, I'm not ready. Sox pop the boil. Houck and Duran, it's unfair. A's fans, please take care. Game 2.
This is the suspension music, so you'll be suspended.
Oh my god, I choked it! I had it in my head!
Yeah, Tyler went into haikus there. This is already a train wreck. All right, we'll address this. We'll address this. Get me out of here. We'll address this.
Send me out.
Steve, I'm gonna let you finish the intro, but this is for Tyler. That was crazy what just happened right there. That was crazy. He hears the suspension music and just immediately goes into like we didn't finish the open. Steve is suspended, and we'll get to Steve's suspension, which was immediate. Steve's suspended, and Tyler just started ripping haikus because he thought that Steve being suspended means haiku time. So now Tyler is suspended. Also, it's crazy.
Happy birthday.
So, Steve, go ahead.
What up, Section 10 of the building?
In the motherfucking building. Presented by Blue Moon.
Suck one.
Tyler, what the fuck do you have to say for yourself right there? Because you just like took like an all-time suspension moment for Steve and you made it about yourself. Go ahead. Try to defend that one. That was crazy.
I've been really nervous about the haikus. I've been really trying to get ready for today and come out strong.
Riffing. He was just like, oh, it's haiku time? See?
Do you have haiku music?
Yes.
That's probably the craziest part, that the music wasn't playing and he was going. Oh.
And it sounds nothing like the suspension music, by the way. This is the haiku music. Don't start your fucking haikus. We'll get there.
I'm sorry.
You're on the shit. That's the haiku music. We got music for everything. We got fucking like we're gonna get to Clark's ketchup. Obviously, the A's were swept by the Boston Red Sox. And by the way, for whomever is making note of the suspensions at home, I had given myself a suspension the last episode. Please strike that from the record because I interrupted Steve, and it was because I interrupted him. He was talking about the weather report, which turned out to be completely inaccurate.
I don't think you can revoke.
Therefore,
can you revoke him?
Nope. Yep. So I interrupted because I was confused by your weather report, which turned out to be a complete fallacy. So therefore, that suspension has been revoked. Please strike that from the record. And yes, Tyler.
I'd also like one of mine revoked for the same reason.
Nope. Coley, what were you saying? What were you about to say? What do you get, Coley? What do you got?
I was gonna say I think Tyler loses hand raising privileges this episode because he's been such a wild card. Minutes in, I don't even know if we're minutes in yet. We might just be like 1:30 into this episode. Hard to tell. Up is down, black is white right now. He started going faster. I've seen Tyler do haikus. They're slow, they're elegant, they're perfectly
passionate.
crafted. He was like, turn on my fucking head. He was like Lil Wayne in 07.
I'm in the booth.
Trouble in it. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad no one else caught what he was doing. Like I just like I was like, why is he talking? But it's not like he's not saying anything. I was like, oh wait, he's doing his haikus right now.
I was waiting for you to like stop him. Like clearly a suspension had happened, like an obvious suspension. I thought you were going to be like, whoa, we're not But no, I agree. The double suspension. Steve sets the record fastest suspension in show history. And Tyler was like, I will not let you catch me in total suspensions. I promise you.
I was inching closer. Tyler was like, no. We're shutting this down.
Let me double you up real quick.
Yeah. This is my legacy.
He got an extra one on top. He's now one extra one ahead of me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't feel bad about any of that. I feel like every suspension that's been levied in the first fucking 4 minutes of this show has been earned.
We could be 100 episodes from right now. I don't think we're ever going to have 3 suspensions as fast as we just did. That was in about 3 minutes. No.
I mean, it's going to have to be something where there's just some sort of egregious offense committed off the program. And for anyone that's confused right now, if you didn't listen to the last episode, Steve was suspended off the rip because he did his weather report, and it's a series between the A's and the Red Sox in Oakland, and he gave the weather for the city of Boston, which the series, and people, I mean, hundreds of DMs, emails, tweets, messages from people saying, I went to the game with my son, like I took my grandmama to the game, and I prepared for a fucking hurricane, basically. And the weather was nothing like what Steve said it was going to be. And these are people that depend on us. And it's like, I'm not suspending Steve for any other reason than I'm trying to, keep the integrity of the show. And it's just, but you owned up to your mistakes. You put out a statement. That was classy. What, Tyler? You don't think that he owned up to his mistakes?
It wasn't classy because anyone who's went through it and read through it realized it was AI generated. This was not Steve owning up.
Statement. Tyler, I 100% did that statement.
Yeah, I believe Steve. It's
not a serious accusation to levy. That's a very serious accusation.
I don't take that unseriously. I take that very seriously.
Steve, let me finish.
I wrote that, Tyler.
Reading what other people said below, they agreed. There was a wide group of people saying this does not feel like it's straight from the heart.
There were like 2 people, and they were probably your burners, Tyler. Like, come on.
No need.
Please. No, it was a fair suspension. If that's it, I'm honestly fine with it, because one suspension, I thought it was going to be worse than that.
No, it will be. That was just how it starts.
Okay, a record-setting suspension.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, well, I mean, Steve is already he already has to do the Pat's picks, Steve selections, which was supposed to be the top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time.
Right.
And this is I believe this is our last episode before. Yeah, this is our last episode before WrestleMania. So Steve's selections, top 10 WrestleMania matches will be tonight. So we got a lot for you. We got Down the DM, we have haikus, we have Clark's catch up, we have Steve's selections, top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. And yeah, that I feel like, and we obviously have to go over this Red Sox A's series. We have the Stop and Shop look ahead. We got plenty of segments coming to you tonight on section the 10, section 10. Count them up. First and foremost, Jake correctly. I mean, did everyone else who didn't have a sweep? Did everyone have a sweep? What are you gonna fucking raise your hand? Think you're special? I fucking picked a sweep too, Tyler.
Well, actually, did anyone not have a sweep after you heard me speak?
I had 2 out of 3.
Coley?
I had 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So me, Jake, and Tyler had sweeps.
Fine with a suspension for thinking we might lose to the A's.
No. You don't get suspended for picking a series wrong. It's fine.
Because this specific series, the A's are so bad. But bad.
In fairness, would you agree, Coley, that I mean, they very easily could have lost 2 out of 3 in this series.
The Sox wanted the A's to win 1. They wanted us to be right, Cole.
Kenley wanted the A's to win.
Wanted them to win 2.
I can't put it all on Kenley. Kenley was out there.
I can, and I did.
Slicing and dicing. If he had some fielders behind him, some good faith fielders, if the umpires were calling obvious strike 3s where he's dotting corners. But I specifically said the Stripling game would be the one I thought we would lose. And considering we won 1-0 and he fucking was slicing and dicing us the entire game, I don't feel too bad about my call.
Well, if I just sat here and said the Red Sox easily could have lost 2 out of 3 in the series. We're talking about today's game. We're talking about the middle game. Mm-hmm. Which game felt more losable? Because to me, it felt like last night. It felt like the extra innings middle game. I felt like that was like I was already preparing for an L. Today was annoying because Kenley looked like dog shit again. But I felt like last night was way more of an L waiting to happen than today was.
Last night, at least we were constantly threatening. We weren't getting anyone across, but we constantly had ducks on the pond. It was pretty duckless pond today.
No ducks.
It felt like, hey, it would be sick to give Kenley like a 4-run lead here. And the offense was like, we're not going to do that. So I don't know. Like, obviously they probably should have lost when the A's had like first and third one out in extras and plated none of those runs. But today it was just like, is one really enough? Do we have the pitching staff? I know it's the A's. Do we really have the collective pitching staff to just shut someone out 1-0? And it turns out we do.
This game wanted to be 1-0. I feel like once they got the sac fly, even in the 5th or 6th inning, I don't know if you guys disagree with this, it felt like that might be it. That might actually be all they need, especially with Nick Pivetta being the guy that always gets screwed with the 1-0 games. It's like, all right, let's flip this around. Let's win a game 1-0 for Nicky Smooches.
All right.
I think
before we break down, Tyler.
Isn't that why though? I think
No. I wasn't calling on you. I was telling you to shut up.
Okay, thank you. I'll save it for later.
Before we break down this series, Tyler.
Do I still include the first one?
Huh?
Yeah. No one heard it because no one knew it was happening.
Well, yeah.
Sox pop the boil. Houck and Duran, it's unfair. A's fans, please take care. Game
nice.
2.
I like that.
Now that's story time. Said he saved us all tonight. Penn was dynamite. Game 3. Bring out the broomsticks. Pivetta, born maniac. SETI, Web Gem King. A series of haikus by Tyler Milliken.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty good for the first set of haikus for the season. I think you started hot. I think the first one was the best. But I like the fact that you don't know what you're going to get from Tyler Milliken's haikus this year, where sometimes I might rhyme, sometimes I might not. So you're going to have to tune in and find out.
People are very up and down with the rhyming. Sometimes they really like it. Some people are saying that's not a haiku. We even had accusations over the weekend or the last couple days that the Red Sox page was trying to do haikus after the games. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on the Red Sox social media borrowing ideas from us from time to time. I'm not gonna comment on that.
They don't match. Thank you for tagging me though.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we have the haikus as part of our segments. Steve, you have not heard the Clark's Ketchup MVP theme song?
I have not heard it yet. Not heard it yet. Never.
Okay. You promise?
I do promise.
We'll know from his reaction.
Yeah.
Based on the people tagging me though, I'm very invested in what this is going to sound like because people are like, Steve's not ready. There's no way he's going to see it coming. Like, I'm excited for this.
Yeah. I mean, I put a lot of work into it.
Okay.
So, like, I remember writing the lyrics. I remember getting in the studio and recording my bars. And yeah, Steve.
Do people just text you their MVPs? Is that how it works?
Yes. So, okay. Every time that I don't think we got an answer from Cora.
Wow.
That's tough.
That happened at times last year, though. We always usually had like one person who forgot or someone was on the plane. It was like you 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah. Uke didn't answer. Cora didn't answer, which is like uncharacteristic.
Cora's really good usually.
First one back.
Yeah. Cora's usually really good, but nothing from Cora, nothing from Uke. We got one from Middlebrooks. We got one from TC. We got one from Jemai. We got one from OB. And then we have, of course, the audio submission from Will Fleming and Lou Merlone. And Coley was on the voting panel, but now he's on the show again. Mm-hmm. So that's one less person that I have to text.
You didn't text me. You would call me.
Yeah, but like if we were recording late at night and you were like, "Oh, I'm a dad. I cannot talk on the phone at 12:30 at night," then you would text in your vote. Yeah.
It was typically if I knew in advance, I just simply wouldn't answer the call. Yeah. I would text it in.
Yeah. Is that everyone? Because I kept a note. Clark's Ketchup is Loomer, Will Fleming, Houck, TC, Cora, OB, Middlebrooks, and Jemai. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's everyone.
Are there any
so I don't know.
Are there any other prospects?
For voters?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but like, I mean, Pap is Pap watching the games when he's not in Boston for pre and post? Probably not. Tyler?
Lenny DiNardo.
I don't have his number.
Okay.
I could get it very easily.
I like Lenny.
I don't have his number. I like Lenny too.
Little 2004 representation.
Yeah. Like who else is like locked in?
I don't know. It's a good list.
It is a good list. I mean, we almost we did ask Heim to be a voter last year, and we kind of thought of it as like, I mean, teams would use that in arbitration. They would be like, well, how are you not going to grant my player the salary that we requested when your general manager voted him as Clark's Ketchup Series MVP in 5 out of the last 7 series of a playoff push? Then the arbitrators would be like, you're right, pay the man.
So have you asked Wally yet, or no?
I could ask Wally. I know Wally.
Okay. I'm just thinking of 162 people, you know?
Tessie?
Wally's watching. He is. You want to talk about someone that is locked in on these games. He's watching.
Just picture him on the couch, just like ready to go.
My concern is he would every game or every series have a 26-way tie. He's just such a big fan.
He
of
loves
the fellas.
Dude, he loves the club. He just loves this team.
He loves the club.
Yeah.
You know what? When I go to Fenway for that first series, the home opener, I'm going to talk to Wally.
Okay.
Be like, listen, you tell me, are you able to do this? Are you able to put your bias for the entire team aside to vote with credibility? And if he says he can, then we can give Wally a vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying, are you able to do this? Like, can he physically do it? I know.
No, he can physically do it.
No, it might be hard for him to text. That's all I'm thinking. But
well, he has a big phone.
Yeah, true.
He has a big phone, and he has a personal handler. I don't know if you knew that.
Mm-hmm. True.
You did?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
What's his name?
Come on. I don't say obvious stuff on here. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going.
Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving without that dumb shit. The Notebook lives on. As I mentioned, the second game of the series had by far the most notes. The third game, not so much, but I also didn't really have the Notebook handy because I was driving a 98.5 The Sports Hub, where I did the baseball hour with Tony Maserati, 6 to 7 every single Wednesday. The first game of the series, my first note is, and this continued. The first note of the first game was a trend that continued throughout the entire series. Jarren Duran is a difference maker. Walk, stolen base, takes third base on a throw-in error, run scored. That just happened in the first inning alone. Jarren Duran, before we start to blow Jarren Duran here, how much credit do you want to give Alex Cora for saying before Jarren Duran starts doing all this shit on the base pass and swiping bags and stealing base, whatever. How much credit do we want to give to Alex Cora for that?
Decent amount.
How much?
Probably like 25%. Before the season, he put a lot of confidence into the kid. He was like, this is our leadoff hitter no matter what, every single game.
He also said that Chris Sale is going to be the opening star.
Yeah, he did.
He's hitting 500.
He did. But he was this was his first opening day with the big squad. It would have been last year. He got hurt in the World Baseball Classic. I think for a guy who, if this team's going to be serious for 162 games, him being at the top of that lineup, consistently producing, will be a big part of that. Now, if he's the only guy doing anything, it won't be a serious team and it won't be his fault. But so far, the returns look tremendous.
When Jaren gets on base, it almost counts as like someone else being on twice. Like we had talked about in that first series, I think he only had 2 hits in Seattle in the 4-gamer, but he was on 4 times after getting plunked twice. And you just, like we mentioned before, you know when he's on. Like, he just wreaks havoc in the base paths. And even if he doesn't steal, we're all thinking he's going. And the pitcher's thinking he's going too. So, naturally, you're now in his head, and that's going to impact the at-bats. You would like to see Raffy with some more, contact here. He's had some good contact, but maybe finding some more gaps to drive Duran in. But, yeah, this has been specifically a ridiculous series for him, but just a really good start to the year overall.
Yeah. My next note here, which will appear 2 more times. This says the A's fucking suck, and I starred it.
Only 2 more times.
Yeah, there's a star next to this one. Then I have Dallas makes a baseball is dead reference. Then after that, I have the A's fucking suck with 2 stars. And then the next line is the A's fucking suck with 3 stars. First team to commit 4 errors in a game. And this happened by the 3rd inning. This was a very bad game for the Oakland A's. This was, Steve?
I just wanted to confirm what the star system is, because we have our text thread going, and I don't know what a star quantifies.
I don't either.
Okay.
It's kind of just like, it's kind of like a star is kind of like, hey, make a point to talk about this. Like, you don't have to talk about everything that you write down here in the notes, but please, this is something where it's like you feel it so strongly in the moment that now 2 days removed from it, I don't want to forget that during the 3rd inning of this first game on April 1st, I really thought the A's sucked. Like, I really felt that. So I just wanted to double and triple down here with the point that they suck.
Agreed. And that's what made games 2 and 3. I know we're not there yet, but that much more frustrating because this team fucking stinks. They blow.
They feel like losses, don't they?
I won't go that far. It's just like how
you don't feel good.
Well, it's more like someone tweeted us because we had that back and forth with Tyler. Me and Steve had that back and forth with Tyler about how much does spring training matter. Someone tweeted us by the 3rd inning of game 1. Can we take any more from these games than we can take from spring training? And I think it's a fair question. I don't know. Like, I know there are actual stakes. The manager can't just end an inning. There aren't those weird idiosyncrasies that do happen in spring training. So it is technically a real game. However, when you find yourself in a sweat at 12:30 Eastern because you're in extra innings against the fucking A's, you feel like a real asshole. So it's hard for me to take any positives from this series. And I'm not just trying to shit on the team. I'm happy they're 5-2. I'm happy the pitching's looked as good as it has, but it's hard to know what the positives are that actually mean something long-term. Whereas the negatives, I feel like those could be actual problems. Like Abreu not looking like a major league player at the moment. Stuff like that. Some of the Emmanuel Valdez throwing like Phillip Rivers from second to first. These are issues I could see continuing throughout the season.
Mark Kotsay was losing his mind in the dugout. Like, they had a Mark Kotsay camera at times just showing him every time a single error happened. He was kind of just sitting there looking like Devers did in Houston, where he was like, nothing is going right for me. And Kotsay, there's nothing he can do. He just had to live. Even the Tanner Houck start, and, we'll talk about it or whatever. But when he's throwing more strikes than he's ever thrown in any other start, and you're posting clips of him throwing those sliders, and they're not even starting in the strike zone, like, it felt like I watched one big leaguer this whole last 3 days, and it was Mason Miller. And that's all we talked about. I was like, oh my God, he is incredible.
Good Lord.
But that felt like the only thing anyone was like, all right, that's talent. Everything else was like, all right, We're watching a AAA squad, basically. Like, how is this team going to win the 50 games it won a year ago?
It's worse than that, I think. I think they're worse than a AAA team. I think that there are several AAA teams that are better than the Oakland A's.
Sea Dogs clean up on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sea Dogs will take their lunch real quick.
Real quick. This was something that Coley, I feel like because there's a lot of Trevor Story that happens in the notes. Trevor Story with the dagger. This is a 2-run double that happened in the 3rd inning and basically iced the game at that point. Where are you at? Where are you at on Trevor Story? I know that you've been out for quite some time. How far back in are you?
I think that's an unfair mischaracterization of me. As I've said many times on this and previous iterations of this program, there's no one in the city of Boston who wants to see Trevor Story do well more than the McMahon. The problem is he typically lets me down, and I call it out. What bothers me, and people are arguing with me about this on Twitter, is when I said hold him to higher standards than Bob, people were like, well, no, actually, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Other people were tweeting when he got this double in game 1, like he looked surprised to hit it. Now, I think it was the second game, or was it today? I think it was today where he drilled a double, like fully got every piece of it. There were different hits in my eyes. As the series went, it looked like he was more and more comfortable in the box. I think that double in the 3rd inning, like you're talking about in game 1, could be the start of something. But again, and I hate that we started with Story because people are just going to say I'm picking on him. I don't know what positives I can take from this series due to the competition. I just don't. I can't sit here and be like, I'm trying to think of positives, like Bello giving up 2-run home runs every game he pitches now. Andrew Bailey's going to stop telling him to throw that pitch. Simple and plain. Like, get the 2-run home run pitch out of the arsenal. Chris Martin, I know he's dominant because he's just done that since he's put on a Red Sox uniform. That has nothing to do with this series. You know what I mean? I didn't learn that here. Valdez looking okay in the field until he tried to turn that double play on the run. Him looking okay doesn't tell me much due to the competition. So it's hard. Even Duran, I haven't looked, and I'm sure Tyler has these numbers. These don't look like balls that are roped. These aren't like barreled. So what does that tell me for the rest of the season? Or is he just facing shit A's pitchers?
Even with Trevor Story, the one thing I would say that was interesting is Spear had this stat over the last couple days or so. Last year, Story was 0 for 7 against 98 miles per hour or better fastballs. He had 2 hits in this series, one off a 98 and one off 101. So if you're looking for a guy who hasn't been able to catch up to fastballs, all right, I think that'd be the conversation. But yeah, at the end of the day, like Trevor Story, he's been above league average hitter. It's a 103 weighted runs created plus this year. But yeah, it's Oakland. He hits bad pitching. What worries me, and I still feel like, all right, if he's facing elite stuff regularly, do I have any hope he's going to be able to touch it? No. And I think when you're seeing the offense struggle, and the offense hasn't been good at all, it still feels like they're missing that consistent right-handed bat. They're missing a Justin Turner. They're missing someone out there who's going to kind of just take a little pressure off of everyone else and maybe be able to shoot a ball the other way and start a rally.
Well, this was always going to be the case with this series, right? I don't think there was any scenario of us coming into the post-A's series being like, oh, we really learned a lot about this ball club, after these 3 games in Oakland. The only thing I really care about is that, outside of a couple little things that we'll get into, is that they just won all the games. Like, even if it doesn't feel like it, I mean, the extra innings game was a classic, just like, pull the rabbit out of the hat. I'm still stunned that they won game 2. But they got the sweep. Jake, you guys nailed it, but Jake's the sweep guy. Jake really nailed it. And that's kind of all that, I don't know, that's all that really matters. Like, I don't think we need to do a lot of deep dives because you guys are right. It's not like you can take too much from this, but I don't know, last year, I don't think they get the sweep. The year before, I don't think this is a sweep. So that's what I care about.
Last year, they walk out of here 1 out of 3. They win that game 1, they lose the next 2. Promptly, like no question in my mind. They at best win 1 out of 3, and I think Catillo had it. That's exactly what did happen last year. They won 1 out of 3 to another shit A's team. So yeah, the wins shouldn't be overlooked because you still do have to win these games. It's very easy to get out of focus. The fellas seem like they're having fun. That I know we joke about the vibes, and they've got the Vibe Lounge that they've opened.
What is it, the Aura Lounge?
The
Yeah,
Aura Club?
Lounge.
What?
The Aura
Cotillo
Club.
kind of messed. Speaking of Cotillo, I think he messed that one up a little bit.
Yeah, what a fucking idiot. He like ruined my whole day today.
And it's your birthday too. Like he ruined your birthday.
I didn't want to mention it. I didn't want to talk about it. But like, all right. Come on. I didn't. Stop it. Stop. Come on. You're embarrassing me. It's not. You guys. It's not that big of a deal. Everyone has one. All you did was. Your parents had sex and now you're here. I mean, it's not an accomplishment. It's just something. It's everybody does it. And today happened to be my turn, which by the way, the Red Sox won 2 games on my birthday today.
That's true.
Yeah.
Leap year special.
Yeah.
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 What was I saying before that?
Socks.
Yeah, there was a Sox in there. Oh, I mean, like to the point
Cotillo.
about
We were shitting on Cotillo.
Yeah, Cotillo sucks. Back to that.
Yeah, so I said he ruined my whole day.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like angrily, like I'm getting like happy birthday text, like happy birthday, Jared, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm ignoring happy birthday text messages to like text everyone that I know in the State Street Pavilion that works in there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on up there? Like, what the fuck is this? And everyone seems to be confused. They're like, we don't even know. Like, I don't know. So that they didn't seem to know what was going on. But Cotillo ended up deleting his tweet about it because he's like, I can't even confirm that what I just said is true. I'm like, then why'd you say it?
I think it's just a new sponsor because, like, we obviously and you know everybody up there. I've gotten to know some of them through you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of our favorite places to get a meal before the game, maybe during the game a little bit. Great view up there. And all of a sudden, now it's the Aura Club. I think it's just the sponsor that changed.
I believe so. From an inside source, Aura is the new sponsor. State Street's contract it ended, and they didn't want to renew.
But it's still going to be the same, right? Like, yeah. Now,
yeah,
I
like
mean,
the picture that he fucking put in there looks like a Top Golf. Yeah,
I'm
like,
insane. It was like one couch. It was just like one long couch for the entire.
Yeah, and then one dinner table that was fancy. I'm like, what are they doing up there? What are they trying to pull off here? But
yeah,
the State Street vibe is gonna remain. And Cotillo, come on, man, come on, let's clean it up.
Yeah, that was some bullshit that really chapped my ass today. But apparently it's gonna be the same thing. It's just called something else. Whatever. Tanner Houck in this one, 6 innings, 83 pitches. Like the parity in the rotation to this point was almost insane. Like you had a turn through the rotation where everyone almost threw exactly 84 pitches. Houck goes 6 innings, 83 pitches, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, did not walk anyone, and punched out 10, which tied a career high at the time. T-Dog, you got any pitch mix numbers for Tanner Houck in the opener?
Yeah, so he kind of followed, the main theme throughout this. He scrapped his 4-seamer. Didn't throw it once. He threw it 9.9% of the time last year, and people smashed it. It was a .325 batting average against. He just stayed away. It was, a lot of slider, 16 whiffs on the day, but Andrew Bailey hates fastballs. We know that, the 4-seamer specifically. That's what we've continued to hear, and right now the Red Sox have thrown less 4-seamers than any team in baseball. And I think after this start, since they started tracking pitch data in 2008, the Red Sox had thrown the fewest 4-seamers percentage-wise of any team ever, just based on that small sample size. It's going to change as the year goes along. Pivetta was throwing a lot of 4-seamers today, but that's how heavy they were.
When we talk about facing the A's in this series, I would have liked to see what would have happened if any other major league team faced Pivetta today. I mean, credit to him, he gave up no runs, but that's about as close as giving up runs as you can come to, not giving up runs. But
for sure tried to give up runs. The A's just weren't having it.
He was giving them chances, yeah.
But
like, guys, come on.
I thought this was the teams, because I can't even single out one singular player. I thought Game 3 was the team as a whole's worst defensive game of the season so far.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was fucking up. Casas, I don't think he fielded a single throw that was just like here. Just right here. Every throw, he was Stretch Armstrong all over the place.
Yeah. Red Sox win 9-0.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle game here, first line here. Bob's having a tough time. And some may accuse me of protecting Bob because I love Bob. Some may say that Bob having a tough time is an understatement. You're entitled to your own opinions. Tyler?
Just a quick stat on Bob.
Yep.
He has a negative 100 OPS plus right now.
Okay, and it's still early. You got to get the fuck out of here, dude.
I'm just giving you a stat.
I don't give a fuck what you're giving me.
There are plenty of stats. Could have given us his height.
There's so
favorite
many
color.
stats. There's so many stats, and he wanted to give us the one that makes Bob look the worst.
Jesus.
Fine. If you're such a good stat guy, then find me one that tells me that Bob's about to get hot, dude.
He's so
That's
due.
That's the stat that I want.
People aren't talking about how due Bob is right
Expected
Oh, man.
OPS this week. What's that?
Yeah. His expected OPS for next week, from what I can see, is 987. 987. His expected OPS for next week.
That for like when you wrote that note, Bob worked a walk. It was 3-1. That pitch was miles out of the strike zone. I'm called strike
But
2.
I mean, you could say that an umpire fucking you're having a tough time.
Big time. No, I'm talking about what Milliken and the millions of Bob haters are saying. I'm not talking about you. Yeah, he's having a tough time. It's already tough enough, and the league feels rigged against him, I would say.
If he can't hit a junk lefty, he's never going to hit anything. That's the only thing he ever has hit.
Listen, what happened later in that game against that same junk lefty?
Listen, at least Trevor Story did something that game. And I'm not saying
Bob was
him and Bob
a
are on the
great
same
glove
level.
at first. Great
He was
glove
fine.
at first.
Fine.
You bet.
He's striking out 80% of the time, guys. I don't care.
Shut the fuck up! Crazy. Like, how many times do I have to say we don't slander Bob on this podcast?
Insane.
How many times, Tyler? This is becoming an issue with authority, I think.
And also,
I think you
how many double plays did we hit into today? Sometimes a strikeout keeps a rally going, keeps an inning alive, Tyler. Watch fucking baseball game. Get out of your computer with your little numbies.
Yeah, stats. Tyler, let me ask you a question.
I have a good stat for Bob.
No.
A
Let me ask you
one.
All right. Let me ask you a question first. What's worse, 2 outs or 1 out?
2 outs.
Okay. So if Bob strikes out, is he helping the team or hurting the team?
I don't know if that's the way to phrase it.
Hurting the team less.
Okay, fair. All right. What's your stat?
Bobby Doublick has a 15.8% chase rate, so he's actually keeping it within
He's got a great eye.
Good eye, dude.
That's all I got. Everything else
And
is
that's
very
on
blue.
top of the expected OPS coming up. This
987.
week. 987.
The versatility, the speed.
His EOPS is going to be nuts.
Ooh. The EOPS. But yeah, first note for the middle game here is Bob's having a tough time. We all have tough times.
Tough time.
You know, no one is immune to a tough time. Maybe Jake. I don't know. Jake, I feel like is just always just Jake. You ever have a tough time, Jake?
I have tough times.
Okay, Jake has tough times too. All right, that's very honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's very honest and forthcoming of Jake to say that he has tough times too. That never seems like it. He's just that's because he's a pro.
Professional.
Yep. Second note here, Trevor Story may be back. TBD. I don't know what happened here, but my third note says Jarren Duran may be a shit for brains. What did he do?
Wow, brother. It's
thrown out at second.
yeah.
When he could have just swiped the bag, like easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, to be
We love
fair,
Jarren Duran.
lefty on the bump, so he wasn't particularly steely in this game too, as he has been in the other 6 games he's played.
Mhm.
But
No
it,
steals
like-
today either, which pissed me off a lot.
Wood was scuffling a bit at that point. You have Devers coming up next. Or, excuse me, O'Neill was batting 2 that game. Yeah, so O'Neill's
Pablo Reyes
next.
fifth.
Listen, Story's best game in this series, he wasn't hitting in the 3-hole. People are talking about it.
It's fair.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to Jarren Duran. because, I mean, it all comes full circle with the love.
Hmm.
Can't give up more than 1 run to the A's. That's number 4. And the next line, which kind of connects with this, Bello pissing me off.
Dude.
That must have been the second 2-run home run. Bello's pissed me off because, I mean, he gave up 2 2-run home runs. So it's, I would say can't give up more than 1 run to the A's would be the first 2-run home run. And then Bello's pissing me off must be the second 2-run home run.
Has to
with
be.
then followed by his line, which was 5 innings, 87 pitches, 5 hits, 4 earned. He did walk a batter, 6 strikeouts, and then gave up the 2 homers.
He's the only Sox pitcher that gave up runs in the series.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I attributed those first 2
point.
earned runs to Duran because the Red Sox still should have been up. Bello still should have been on the bench when that first 2-run shot went up.
Yeah.
It's the command. And that was the weird part with Bello for me. He was throwing the slider and it was like actually nasty early in that start. Like he was getting a lot of whiffs. I think he had 7 total on it. And then it just started floating in the zone and then he gave it up on the changeup. So is that someone who wants to say, well, I need more sinkers from Brayan Bello? Is this an instance where Andrew Bailey has him leaning on off speed and breaking balls too much? I don't know. I think the slider is still the key to him, trying to get more strikeouts because he's not walking guys. But the command, he just doesn't know where the ball's going. It's not hitting the mitt frequently. And if that continues to be the problem, I don't know if we're going to see Brayan Bello take the leap he needs to take this year.
He's also...
I also, the body language on the mound, where like clearly getting upset after giving up homers, Cora did not play with that shit last year. He had mentioned that, and that was something that he kind of wanted Bello to clean up. I don't care for it. It doesn't matter to me either way. But I did notice last year Cora made a point to bring that stuff up, so it was interesting to see it come out again.
He gave up that first
It didn't
bomb
seem as bad. Am I wrong in thinking that? Because I hear you, Tyler, and Cora did say that. But it felt like the normal reaction to giving up 2 2-run homers to the Oakland A's.
Yeah,
right?
but like, you ever see Pedro do that?
He was like throwing his head back.
I mean, like Bello was like, ugh. Like, I'm not saying that I had a problem with it, but if Pedro is your idol and your mentor, then you probably want to do what he does, and he don't do that when he gives up home runs. And I'm not saying do what Pedro did either, because he would just fucking drill someone in the head and give him a concussion.
Yeah, threaten their family.
That's where he'd take it out. He'd kill people by throwing pitches at him.
Yeah, like that's what Pedro would do if he gave up a home run to somebody. They would apologize and literally never do it again.
Never walk again.
Yeah, they'll never walk again. They'll never be able to see straight.
He gave up that first home run to Langoliers, came back the next pitch and pumped 97. So like he was getting pissed, waving his arms and shit. But also Pivetta and Chris Martin were doing the same shit today when they were giving up hits. So that's where it's like I can't really pin that on Bello. And Tyler, when you talk about Bailey and him making the jump, he's the youngest of these 5, like by a lot. So the other one's acclimating quicker. I feel like he's making really the largest change out of every pitcher we have. Some guys, I get we want him to get more whiffs. I'm not against that by any stretch. He's a ground ball pitcher. So if he's giving up fly balls, deep flies, that feels like, he is clearly trying to change the most out of anyone with his arsenal. I don't know if we should completely cut out his 4-seamer, just have him not throw it down in the zone.
Yeah, so we still haven't seen the 4-seamer, so it's been like the sinker he's been feeding. I think with Bello, where it comes complicated for him is, yes, he is the youngest guy, but he's not framed as the youngest guy. He's the guy who started on opening day. So as the expectation changes and they look at him as the leader of the staff, Alex Cora said it. It's time for him to be that guy. It's time for him to kind of carry that responsibility. Is it unfair to him? Yeah, it is, because there should be someone at the top of this rotation, a veteran he can kind of lean on. But that's where you play this game where he's trying to fill those shoes. I'm not panicking. It's 1 start. Like, he got rocked in Oakland last year. Like, it is what it is. But I think it's more just, if you were hoping to see the command take a significant step from where it was at the end of last year, it feels like it's in a similar place. That part of his game is still the same.
It's interesting he got rocked again. Well, not rocked, but I mean, if you're giving up 4 to the A's and no one else is giving up runs to them, I think that qualifies as rocked light,
Definitely
maybe. But the fact that it happened in Oakland again it's something to note. Only 2 starts, I get it, but it's the worst ERA he has at any park in the bigs. And I always look into that of like, what's the deal? What's the deal with this place? You just don't like? I mean, the place sucks. So maybe he's just offended that they play Major League Baseball games at the Coliseum and it's just pissing him off the whole start and he gives up homers. I don't know what it is, but something to note. If he has another bad start at the Coliseum, then that's a thing. I think 3 is a thing.
Definitely a thing. the way I look at it too, he's given up runs on three swings this season. That's it. He's not getting shelled.
His non-homer ERA is 0. So he's
unbelievable.
Got that.
But it's also like Tyler said, he's not walking guys. It's not like the bases. He's not pitching out of jams a ton. It's 3 mistakes. So I think it's getting harped on more because he's the only fucking pitcher they paid this offseason. I think that's why it's a bigger story.
And the other thing I will add with the homers, it's weird to see him kind of struggle with this. And this was something that popped up at the end of last year because when he came up here, the whole thing with Brian Bello was like, this guy he just doesn't give up homers. Like it was 0.2 home run per 9 that first year in the big leagues. Last year was up to 1.4. It's 2.7 right now. Now, is it going to stay this high? Probably not. But for a guy who does keep the ball on the ground so much, he has to stop giving up the homers. That's going to be a major problem. But that's why the 4-seamer's gone. It's just when you're hanging a slider and a changeup, it doesn't fucking matter. If it's in the middle of the zone, someone's going to tank it.
Which has been a thought watching. It's such a change for me watching as it should be for everybody, watching the pitchers. When I see like Weiser come in and Campbell, I don't want to put this out there because it's not fun, but I can see those getting hung and banged over the monster a lot this summer. Obviously, it's not going to happen every time. Sometimes it's going to be sharp, sometimes it's going to be not. But I do think that's kind of the fear with going to only off-speed stuff because not every pitch is going to be thrown perfectly.
It's a balance, and I think that's where you see someone today like Pivetta, the sweeper wasn't working. He starts feeding the 4-seamer because he couldn't generate whiffs. It wasn't working for him. I think with Bello, we're going to see these tweaks keep happening. It's just, at the end of the day, he's going to have to throw that slider and changeup. As long as he puts them where they need to be, he's going to be in fine shape. That's really just what it comes down to for him. It's not like he's leaning super heavy in that direction like Cutter did that first start or like Nick did that first start. So, I don't know. I think it's just a command conversation, and how do you improve that? Good luck, Andrew Bailey. It's on him.
I don't think, am I sensing concern from you guys?
No.
Not me.
Oh, okay.
Tyler sounds concerned.
No, I think it's just, this has been the issue for Bello. It's just command. He needs to get to the point where he's hitting those spots a little bit more, and he gets homer prone when he doesn't.
I like back to the body language thing. To me, like if you read into it from like a psychology perspective, if he's being that demonstrative about giving up home runs, it means that he thinks that he's better than that, which he should be.
Correct.
Like he should feel that way. But until you prove it, like until you've had this like long strain of success where it's like, how dare you hit a home run off of Brian Bello? But until that happens, like it hasn't happened.
I don't read it as how dare you. I read it as he's upset
No,
with
but
himself.
like in his own head, like it's like you have to to have an edge like that at that level where you're playing against like the best players in the world. You have to think that you're one of the best.
Definitely,
but he hasn't proven that yet.
He is treating it like, how the hell can anyone hit a homer off me? Which is the first step to that being true. So if you're treating it like it, then first. Make sure that you can actually make that the case.
Yeah, I think he's mad at himself. I don't think he's like, how the fuck did Shane Langoliers hit, or Shea, whatever his fucking name is? How the fuck did this asshat hit a home? I think he's like, why the fuck did I do that? Why did I hang this changeup? I don't view it as like the A's, because again, he did it all last year too. So that's where I don't think it was like a how could you? Because then he'd be drilling people. Like he would just do that.
And I don't want people to think if he wants to be emotional on the mound, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? That was just something
Tyler.
Cora pointed to. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
That's big.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
You know
Good job, Tyler. That was big.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tyler. Next note here says, I think Trevor Story could possibly be back. And again, if you are just catching up now, the second line says Trevor Story may be back, TBD. This says, I think Trevor Story could possibly be back. This was after his game-tying RBI base hit with 2 outs in the 7th inning. And then, I don't know what he did after this, but it says, I'm going to say it, Trevor Story's back. Because I think he doubled. I think he doubled down the line after that. So
Yeah,
that was the 3 for 5 game, couple RBIs. He did have a couple Ks. I still think it's going to take some time to shake the I expect him to get out.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what shows that you're actually back. And we were texting about it, just expecting him not to come through. And then he did to tie the game at 4, which actually matters. I'll give him a little extra credit because it didn't seem like the Sox were going to score another run. When they had 3, it didn't seem like 4 was going to happen. And then you had 2 outs, runner on third, Trevor Story coming up. That had out written all over it. And he didn't hit it hard, but he found a gap, and, all of a sudden it's a tie game. So he deserves credit for it, but I still, as it stands right now, expect him to get out when he comes to the plate.
Yeah.
It just feels so
Wait. You still expect him to get out when he comes to the plate?
I do. I think he went 0-for-3 in the finale.
He did.
Right?
I literally expect everyone to get out when they come to the plate. And
No, I know. I mean, the Red Sox expect to get out when they step up. So, it's credit to them also that they're 5-2. What's the team average or team OB? It can't be that good. They're probably
terrible.
Lower third in the league. T-Dog's on it.
Definitely.
They're 18th in weighted runs created plus. So in terms of offense, they have been below average baseball-wise.
And it feels like it, but then, you're winning the games. So you deserve some credit for it.
Only 2 teams have hit fewer home runs.
Correct.
They're middle of the pack. I mean, I know it's an outdated stat, but they're middle of the pack batting average wise. They're literally middle. They're 15th.
You're getting ducks on the pond.
It's true. I mean, Story had over 1,000 OPS in the series, so I'm more playing the eye test game than the stats game here.
They're 15th in on base percentage.
Just nothing's going to blow you away offensively.
No, they're 20th in slugging.
No, I mean, they're 2 power guys, or Casas, who keeps hitting the ball directly at people when umps don't just ring them up on 6 straight balls. And Devers, who has a shoulder issue,
I guess,
and is also hitting the ball directly at people when he does make contact.
Some big outs this season so far. I never even like saying anything negative about Devers because I know go on an absolute tear, but there have been some noticeable ABs where he's either grounded into a double play or popped up, and got to get him going. And it makes me think, I hope this shoulder thing isn't more serious than they're making it out to be.
Yeah. I mean, that knock that he had today, what was that, the 8th inning, where it squeaked through the left side, and Duran somehow went fucking first to third on it.
But didn't you expect Duran to do that?
Yeah, that didn't shock. You tweeted about it. First of all, the third baseman was in left field, so we know he was in a foot race with the shortstop to get to third.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Devers being on second was the more shocking thing, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. And it was he was out of breath. He's like, I don't want to do that again. I should have just stayed at first.
He was gassed in this game too. We're talking about fielding that bunt, which was the underrated play of the game because Rafael went crazy. But Devers fielding that bunt, getting that out, I don't want to say won them the game, but they lose it if he doesn't do that.
100%. I thought that deserved more credit. And it's because of his history of not being great in the field. We expect him to mess it up. So when it goes well, you're like, oh, thank God. But it's, in hindsight, that should have been great play, Rafi, for keeping them in the game. I thought that was going to be in right field. No doubt.
But it's also the most classic Rafi play where it was such a difficult play where if you don't completely make it clean and make the perfect throw, you're screwed. He makes that one, right?
Right.
But yeah, extremely underrated.
Kenley Jansen. This was his first appearance in the series. First thing that stood out, obviously, I feel like to everyone here, you noticed the velocity. He was pretty much, you saw 92 maybe a couple times, but he was pretty much sitting 90. You don't happen to have offhand, Tyler, you do? Okay. Of course you do. You're great.
Cutter was down 2.7 yesterday and 2.6 today.
What was the average cutter velocity?
That was down from last year's average. I think he ended up getting 92, right in that area, 91, because he touched 95 at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because he was throwing 96, 97 to start last year, and everyone was like, "Where the fuck did this come from?" But yeah, he looked like shit. Last note was Saddam Rafael in center field every goddamn day, and there's a star next to that as well. That's gonna happen. Coley kind of started on a little bit here, and it's it's very hard to argue that anyone else should be in that position but Saddam Rafael. the fucking, I was on Maz tonight, and I was like, that was a garbage take where he was like, oh, you guys just aren't used to having a capable center fielder. So when he makes a catch like that, then, you know, it's because you're not used to seeing great defense in center field. It's like, we had Jackie Bradley Jr. for fucking, like, what, 7 years?
Yeah.
Like, he was always saying, we know what good defense in center field looks like. I also know what an outstanding play looks like, where I know that 85% of the league's not making that fucking catch that he made in center, and he made another one today and almost made 2 today. Like, he is head and shoulders above most center fielders in the league defensively.
It's the JBJ thing where he's so fluid out there and he gets such good jumps on the ball that something that looks so easy to him is extremely difficult for anybody else. Like both of those balls, and expected batting average isn't the perfect way to do it, but you know, they were 880 and 830. Like those were tough, hard hit balls that usually fall in for a hit again and again and again, and he flew to them. Especially the one today was even more unreal than the one the night before. And
he's got
Oakland,
he's got a way of like, and this is based off of, because like we mentioned, Tyler, we weren't watching spring training. He's got a way of making it seem like the ball is like there's a magnet with the ball in the glove, like it's gonna end up in the glove. He glides to the ball, and you just expect him to catch it. And when we're talking about guys showing some emotion, kind of like that he was pissed off that he missed the ball that like nobody would have caught. And that would have been a ridiculous catch in the finale. And he's, you know, kind of slapping his glove and swearing in it. You know, I can only imagine he's swearing. Maybe he said a hard F, a different kind of F word. But yeah, I just, who knows? He might have said that, and that's why he covered his mouth. But when the camera flips to Rafaela, I already feel like he's going to make the catch. And that's crazy considering how many games has he played in his career? Like it's, you know, a handful compared to all these other guys that are out there. So credit to him.
Credit to him. Still got the job done, Kenley Jansen, even though he looked horrible doing it. Red Sox win 5-4 in 11 innings. In 11 innings.
People need to decide whether or not he's hurt.
Yeah.
You need to make that decision soon. Is he hurt, or do you just don't like him?
I think he's hurt. If the velocity's down noticeably, like if he's throwing 96, 97, but he's walking guys, it's like, all right, maybe he's just got some rust. He's throwing 90, and even today,
88.
Yeah, today
he was down to
today
88.
was a tough start. It was a tough
88, 89. Like he was missing up.
Yeah,
which means
Dude,
like, I mean,
he's rearing
day
back
one,
for
like,
88.
Yeah, like he's just not bending his back. Like, yeah, I think he's hurt.
He's letting go early all the time. That's my pitching advice. Hold on to the ball longer, Kenley. That's what I tell him, and then you'll be fine. But it's been hard to watch him. And it sucks because if you give any take, I'm sure everyone right now would agree that's in the room here. You can't say anything on Twitter right now without we're only 6 games in. Well, no shit. We're only 6 games in. Like we're gonna give feedback of the games we're watching. So I don't want to make it a big deal with Kenley, but it's like he's pitching himself into baseball shape, which isn't really like a thing, but that's kind of what it feels like. T-Dog?
That was what he like tried to play it off after the game. He goes,
yeah,
my spring training's done. He's like, hey, I'm all good now. Like, I'm ready to go. It's like, Kenley, I understand what you're trying to do here. I also thought it was very bold of Alex Cora to put him out there today after what he did the day before. It reminded me a little bit of the Cardinals meltdown from a year ago where Kenley had gone out and threw all those pitches and Cora's like, next day, get right back to it. I don't know. If a guy's injured, so injured that you felt the need to give him a breather just a couple days ago, you're comfortable now pitching him back-to-back day, heavy workload, heavy moment. I don't know. It's weird.
And he's all over the place. This is now going back to last year, 5 straight appearances with at least a walk. That is not good for your closer. And I hear what you're saying, Coley, that he probably could have gotten that one bottom left corner there, and Cora was complaining. If you're missing by that much, I think that was the only pitch that he had a fair beef with, and I still thought it was a ball because he missed his spot. And the presentation to the ump wasn't great. Didn't look like a strike. I'm not loving the body language. I'm not loving what he's actually doing out there on the mound. But credit to him. We talk about the post game. He said, I'm going to stop walking hitters left and right. So if he's saying he's going to stop doing it, that's big of him. Yeah. So clap it up for him. But that better be the case because do you guys feel good when he's out there? Obviously not, right? You don't feel good.
No.
It's one of those situations where, like, the closer the game is, the more I think he's likely to succeed. Like, I think if he had a 3-run lead there, I think we lose.
Yeah. It's
true. We could pretty much work backwards from today's game because we can just start with Kenley in the 9th on that one. I have Kenley looks absolutely rinsed. He does. Like, when you're talking about throwing 88, 89, and you're missing up because you're not able to bend your back to like fully extend on your delivery. You guys are talking about the body language. Like, it not so much in the middle game, but today in the finale, he was complaining about calls where it's like, these are fucking balls,
They're
dude.
balls.
And you're all over the place. You're all over the place last night. You're all over the place today. What makes you think that you get the benefit of the doubt here? Like, why are you barking at the umpire? Like, if it was like, it's like paint and it's like, it's got like a little bit of the corner. You're like, I'm Kenley Jansen. I got 400 career saves. Like, I should get that call. Call it.
We just finished the segment where we said Bello hasn't done enough to complain. Now we're talking about the guy who's 6th all-time in saves. Also hasn't done enough to complain? Which is it?
Well, it's different kind of complaining, right? Bello's like pissed that he didn't succeed, whereas Kenley wants a gift call. But he wants a gift call. He wants gift calls. Just throw strikes.
One of them was like 15 inches off the plate. And he was like, whoa, what are we doing, ump? Well, that was just funny. The other one was a strike. And both of them would have been strikes to Casas.
Oh, I mean, every one of them would have been a strike to Tristan Casas. Right. I just don't like that he's like looking at Cora like, Dad, are you going to, come on, this isn't fair. Like, come on, dude, stop doing that.
When you're scuffling and you feel like you just threw a strike and you don't get it, you're probably going to be pissed the fuck off. He's like, listen, man, I don't know how long I can be up here. If I'm throwing strikes, which he was 1 for 2 on complaints, if I'm throwing strikes, I'm going to need you to call it. I'm going to need you to call the strikes when I throw the strikes, please.
It's also tough who this is against. Like, this lineup, Shea Langoliers, Lawrence Butler, Abraham Toro, and Ryan Noda. Those are the guys that he's not throwing strikes to. Like, I don't know who those guys are.
So, Langoliers was the key piece in the Olsen trade. Like, he has some weight to him. But people still, people like Butler. I didn't see anything this series where I'm like, that guy's next. He might be. No offense to him, but the rest of them. And notice what their leadoff guy, he kind of sucked.
Kenley kind of got bailed out, though, with some, those high balls. Not today, but the night before.
They swung at him. The
night before,
the final pitch of this game, he got bailed out. Like, he was not throwing strikes, and you had whatever dipshit was at the plate that swung at a fucking ball that was
Seth Brown.
6 inches above the strike zone.
Did he get every hitter today to 2 strikes? I think he did.
Maybe.
Like, he was all over the place, but I believe he got every hitter to 2 strikes. And then he also should have gotten out of this game 2 batters earlier. The defense fucked him over twice.
Yeah.
I mean, the Valdez one was bad.
Crazy.
That was really bad.
Yeah. There was one at bat today where he walked a guy. Like, there was a questionable call, and he was complaining about the umpire missing a strike call. But it's like, bro, you had the dude 0-2.
Sure.
He had him 0-2, and then he walked him. It's like, you can't complain at that point. So I don't know. Like, maybe we're just sitting here and we're getting more and more irritated with Kenley. Like, everything he does pisses me off now. It's like when he doesn't take the ball, I'm pissed. When he does take the ball, I'm pissed. So I don't know how this Kenley thing ends, to be honest with you. It doesn't seem like it has a happy ending. Maybe there's some sort of redemption arc here. I'm going to bet against it. I'm going to bet against it.
I feel like you could get by. Just throw him on the IL for 10, 15 days. Let him take his time and get right. Because clearly, if he's pitching through something, is it going to get worse? Now, if he can get up to 95 after throwing 15 to 20 pitches, I don't know what is it, if he just needs to get loose.
Warm up longer. Yeah.
It's crazy to see someone go from 88 to 95 in one outing. Like, is that just adrenaline pumping? But with the Red Sox, if there's one thing they have depth, it's in the bullpen. And you're telling me I could get by with Chris Martin closing for a little bit if you want to just go that route for 2 weeks.
Do that forever.
Everyone would feel comfortable.
I disagree.
Why?
I like Martin in the 8th. If anything, I'd rather Slayton get that role. I just don't want to move Chris Martin. It's worked so perfectly. Why fuck around with the one constant you have?
The most guarantee, the biggest guarantee on your roster is Chris Martin with a scoreless 8th. it's going to happen. Even today, where like there was every chance for it not to work because of the mess ups in the field, him being one of them, which should have been an error. That shouldn't be a hit.
Yeah.
But
I was never worried.
Still scoreless.
I was never worried.
No, first and third, I'm like, okay, he's going to strike him out. He strikes him out.
I was never worried a second.
That was my third note here. Chris Martin is still Chris Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, last year he was so automatic, and there was some question about, like he had that second half of the Dodgers where he looked great. Like, can he do that for a full season? He was like, yep. And then you're like, all right, he's getting older. Can he do it again? And he's like, yep. So far, I mean, it's obviously very early, but he appears to be as good this year as he was last year.
Potential pro, if you put him in the ninth inning and he shows he can do it for a couple weeks, maybe that changes his trade value. Maybe a team looks at him and says, hey, we could let this guy close for us for a little bit.
Why the fuck are you talking about trading
one
of
the
our
playoffs, Tyler? We're making the playoffs, dude.
5-2.
Oh, man.
The Red Sox are 5-2. They should be 6-1. And Tyler is licking his chops about what we can trade at the deadline.
Unbelievable.
Our most valuable bullpen assets. Steve?
The Red Sox are on pace to go 116-46, and we're trying to get rid of our best pitcher.
Fire sale.
So high.
Yeah. What can we get for Devers? How about Casas? You guys want Teal? You guys like Meyer? What about Roman Anthony?
You want Fenway?
Get them all out.
Most we're selling Fenway.
Yeah. They have traded managers before. The Red Sox had to trade, I believe, Mike Aviles for John Farrell. What can we get for Alex Cora? Anything else you want to add to the fire sale, Tyler? Or?
No, it's just these were conversations we were having. I'm not saying I want to,
we
but
weren't having these conversations. We were talking about how we need a closer so that we can keep Chris Martin in the eighth so we can contend and win baseball games.
We've been talking.
And you're like, how about we blow it up?
Yeah,
no, it's not that.
Winter, we were talking about it. We're 5-2 right now. This is
5-2.
How you start rolling. Like at 13,
oh, yeah.
We've had plenty of seasons where we thought, oh, this team's gonna fucking stink, and then they make the playoffs. This is what all of us, all we want is to be competitive, and right now that's what they're giving you.
Listen, I'm all about being competitive, but all I'm saying is when you were competitive a year ago, you chose not to be competitive. You fired Chaim Bloom because you were competitive and you didn't want to add anything. So do I have much faith in them to want to add and do things to this team or even keep guys around when the last guy got fired for keeping those guys around? No, it's something I worry about.
This could be a different competitive T-Dog. This could be a different kind of competitive this year. Who knows?
They weren't 5-2 last year.
You're going to have to be 2021 competitive.
Yeah. I don't think that's out of the question. I don't think that's out of the range of outcomes.
Well, that team was in like first place at the trade deadline.
Last
Tyler,
year's team was on pace for 85.
Saying that like a week and a half ago is not the wrong thing to say. I just, we got good vibes right now.
It's just something I think about. I think Chris Martin could get the job done. I do. I think Justin Slayton, it would be unfair for a Rule 5 guy who just got his feet wet to say, hey, can you go pitch the ninth inning for us every night? But hey, do you want to push him into the eighth? I think he has the stuff for that.
What if Kenley actually does, there is a scenario where Kenley does ease into the season and kind of pitch himself into the season, and then he's not a bad closer. Like, I don't know if we're factoring that in because we're.
What's his ERA?
That comes without.
What's his ERA? Kenley?
Well, he hasn't given up a run, right?
Right. Yeah, I feel like he's here. He's arrived.
Yeah, I mean, the fucking, nervous as hell on the couch ERA is like 30. Coley, you're right. Coley, statistically, you were 100%. You were 100% accurate. He hasn't given up a run.
But he's got 5 walks to 4 strikeouts. But if the lights are out, Steve, are the lights on or the lights out?
No, he's doing his job technically, but the goal's to give up no runs, and he's given up no runs, and you got to tip your cap to that.
None of them.
And Tyler had alluded to what he said. I thought his interview with Jemai was kind of eye-opening because he said he took accountability, and you can sense he does want to be on a good team so bad. And I think part of him is sounding like we could be a good team. You don't hear a player say this too often, but he's like, we go to Anaheim, take 2 out of 3. I just love a player saying 2 out of 3. We can lose 1.
Probably my fault.
Isn't that something we should say? Go to Anaheim, take 2 out of 3, come home to Fenway, be 7-3. He's like, we can even drop one in Anaheim. We got an off day tomorrow, so maybe we just, drop the Friday when we get drunk on Thursday. But I think he wants to win so bad and yet that's not his body language. So we have a hard time deciphering how badly he wants to be here.
I tweeted it after the game because everyone was piling on my poor sweet baby boy Kenley. This is the third time in 7 games in regulation the Red Sox have scored 1 run or 0, and everyone's like, "Oh, can you believe the fucking closer can't eke out these 1-run games?" Yeah, I can fucking believe that. That's absurd. Score runs. Like, oh, we want to talk about how bad the A's are. Talk about how bad the A's are. We scored 1 fucking run this game.
It's true. I mean,
Duran's the only guy with the 800 OPS.
It's super easy to be like, look at this old fat fuck. Get him out of here. We don't think he's going to be here long term. So it's much easier to look at this short term problem and be like, this is the only issue. Au contraire, the fucking lineup that refuses to score any runs is the issue. And as people were harping on pitching all offseason, which was wise to do, obviously I still think they should have signed a starter even today. They just didn't replace Justin Turner. I'm not saying bring back Turner. I'm not saying bring back Duvall, but you just let those guys walk away and you're like, well, we have Wilyer Abreu, who has done nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I don't even know if I would frame it as Wilyer Abreu. I think you look at it as they're telling Trevor Story to be in the 3-hole. I think that's where you look at it, is you think that's the right-handed bat that can replace Justin Turner.
The team...
That guy's going to step in. Because you have Tyler O'Neill, who's hitting. Tyler O'Neill can hit. You have Ceddanne Raphael in center field and Duran in left. That big number 3 hitter, you're expecting Trevor Story to be that guy. I think Tyler O'Neill, there's a reason why he got pushed up in the lineup the other day. He's hit great when he's played. He's been able to give you that kind of production. You're just missing a true number 3 hitter. If that's what it is. I think even if you like Wilyer Abreu, did you think he was going to be the number 3 hitter for the team this year?
No, but the team specifically was using his name as a guy they felt very confident about in December. That's where it's like, why would we sign Jorge Soler? Why would we sign Teoscar Hernandez when we've got Wilyer Abreu at home? Like, that's directly from the team. That was the message they said. Obviously, I agree they expect more out of Story, and Story delivered for the most part this series. So I can't even say anything about him, especially when Casas hasn't got going yet. Anyone worried about that, I think, has brain worms. I'm not worried about Casas at all. Devers, like Steve said, I'd love to know if this shoulder thing is real or is not, so we can just kind of move on from that. But like the rest of the line, it's Duran's the only guy I have nothing. And Yoshida's been, he just gets on at least once a game. I can't say that for every other fuckface in the lineup.
It might be what I'm weirdly most excited about, that the lineups kind of sucked, because that's going to come around at some point. Like Devers hitting 217, that's not going to last. Casas 192. Jared, I don't know if you had a note on Casas, but I mean, that's strike 3. One thing I've noticed from Tristan is that last year he would have
Dallas one.
That was hilarious call by Dallas. I mean, that
he's an asshole.
What did he say? He dotted it. That was funny.
We talked about it on the podcast today. Let me see if I have.
Can we play the call?
Yeah, you can play the call, but I think we also have Dallas's reaction to the call on Baseball is Dead as well. Yeah, he's a real asshole. There were a couple of moments on the broadcast last night, Dallas, that fans were pointing out. Let's start with the Tristan Casas at bat here. This was on a pitch 6 inches below the zone.
Got him. Struck him out on the outside corner.
Low paint. I don't know how Casas is laying off. Slider dotted up, down and away from Alex Wood. That's a great pitcher's pitch.
Pitcher's pitch. And that was at least 6 inches below the zone, Dallas.
That was a pitch that was sorely needed in the moment, and they got the call. And I was a little surprised that they got the call.
Mm-hmm.
I think really credit to Langoliers there for just doing a phenomenal job of wiping and muddying the water at the bottom of the zone.
Yeah.
One funny thing with that call that I didn't catch until you just played it there is he does go oof initially with the pitch. He then recollects himself and goes, dot it up. That's a pitcher's pitch right there. The baseball in him was like, oh God, that's maybe the worst call I've ever seen. But I'm an A's announcer. I just think one thing I've noticed with Casas is that last year and it would kind of drive me nuts. He constantly needed to let the ump know that he knew the strike zone better than the ump. And I've noticed he's seemingly specifically not doing that this year, to the point almost too far. Like, I kind of want him to complain a little more, because he's getting screwed to a point that's really unfair. Like, it's consistently Tristan Casas, and he just walks back to the dugout, and I'm like, dude, I get it. I think you needed to complain a little less, but maybe not this less. You could complain more, Tristan.
He's been getting boned.
Boned
on the low strike. Yeah, which is something, again, I said happens to Aaron Judge all the time. Nick Pivetta, 5 innings, 90 pitches, 5 hits, 0 earned runs, walked 1, struck out 3. Didn't have his best shit, but that double play where the Nesson cameras just caught him screaming at his infielders to turn the double play to get out of a bases loaded 1-out jam was very, very funny. Like, at first I was like, this should like fire me up, but it's more funny than like pump up material.
Well, he's yelling before it even happens. He's screaming
at them, and it's in Oakland, where the paid attendance is 5,426. So you know that those infielders, Valdez and Story and Casas, are hearing every word of what he's screaming at them. Like, he is, like, imagine like just trying to, like, it's a job. Like, if you're turning a double play, it's like, I gotta field this cleanly. I gotta make a nice feed to my second baseman here, and you're the second baseman. You gotta field the ball. You gotta catch it. You gotta create a throwing lane so that you don't decapitate the runner coming into second base. Like, there's a lot of things that have to go right here where you need the utmost focus. And Nick Pivetta is like, let's fucking go! Turn the fucking double play! Let's fucking go! And it's, I mean, imagine trying to do a job where there needs to be pinpoint precision and accuracy and focus, and you've got that dude screaming from 10 feet away? 8 feet away?
He was also walking towards them as it was happening.
Yeah. I'll give him credit, because I don't think I've ever seen a pitcher yell before the plays even happened. Like, he's yelling at them as it's going down. That's Nick Pivetta for you.
Yeah. So
love it.
He lost his mind on the Noda bleeder right down the third base line. It looked like he was ready to start spiking the baseball into the ground. Like, took a knee on the mound afterwards, trying to compose himself.
Listen, I love an unhinged Nick Pivetta. I do. I think it's, again, like I said last episode, when he's on, it is a joy to watch. When he's fired up, it fires me up. I think he's one of those dudes where I just want to see him win in Boston. Like, I don't, like, there's guys that are just like calm, cool, collected, and they just like win the playoffs and they don't really show emotion. It's like, that's no fun. Like, I want to see someone like Nick Pivetta just do what he was doing cartwheels off the mound in 21. Like, I need to see that again. I need to see this man play competitive baseball again.
I think that's what makes Kenley stick out so much. All other 25 on the team are fired the fuck up. Like, Cora was not lying about the vibes. The vibes are indeed high. So I think that's what makes Kenley stick out more. And he's just like, whatever happens, I'm fine with. Every other guy is living and dying on every pitch to an unhealthy, like, it's still April 3rd. Like, I don't want them to tune it back or dial it back a little bit, because that's what's clearly winning them way too close of ball games right now. But it is like, even Cora, he's doing like double switches and shit. He's got pitchers leading off.
Empty the bench in the middle game. He used every player that he had to win that game against the A's in 11 innings.
Yeah.
He used every player he had. He's managing to win baseball games. If anyone's like, oh, he's going to be checked out, it's his last year, he's a lame duck manager, doesn't have a contract for next year. Yeah, why don't you go pull up the box score for fucking April 2nd against the Oakland A's? And he emptied the goddamn bench against them to get a win in extra innings on the road on the West Coast. So, spare me.
For this game 3, how did we feel about Rafaela trying to lay it down, wear the crown, sneak a base hit with a bunt?
I don't hate it, just because, like, it would be different. I know he's got power and everything, but he's at his most valuable when he's on the base paths, not at the plate. That makes sense.
Sure.
Like there's some guys like, did I want Mike Napoli in 2013 laying one down to wear the crown? No. Like I want him to sock dingers. I understand that Ceddanne Rafaela can sock dingers, but his value is at his peak when he is creating chaos on the base paths. So if he wants to lay one down, he can absolutely wear the crown once he's on first base. Yeah.
I'd put myself in the same boat because I love it when I see it from Duran. When Duran starts pulling out the bunts, I think the same thing. I'm like, why doesn't he do this more often? And with Rafaela, he's going to strike out a lot. That's just the reality of what it is. So if you can eliminate some of those times where you just strike out and have to go sit down, you could put the ball in play. Screw it. Try to throw out Rafaela because he's going to get crazy with you. Let the craziness happen. It plays off for Duran all the time. And he may not be as fast as Duran, but I don't know. Just watching Rafaela slide head first into the bag, just be careful with that. I'd rather you stay up and run through. Don't mess up your thumb. Don't pull a Dustin Pedroia. I don't need any of that. I need you making grabs in center field.
That was the top thing I was thinking. I was like, oof, the way he slid was so aggressive. I'm like, we don't need it. We don't need that. Especially in a play you're going to be out anyway. I do technically like the effort, but not there. Be selective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it about that time? Coley?
I feel like it has to be.
Houck Series MVP. Series MVP.
The Clark's Ketchup Series MVP brought to you by Clark's Ketchup. Drizzle that ketchup. First one of the year. Steve?
Wow. I had never heard that. There's no doubt. That's you. That's you?
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Good job. Yep.
Yeah. What you like it?
Yeah, and that's my kind of music, man. Like,
yeah.
When I'm thinking of what I'm listening to, just trying to calm down, it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that on Spotify? That should probably be on there.
Yeah, it's on iTunes. It's on what's Jay-Z's stupid thing?
Title.
It's on Tidal as well.
Not Spotify yet. It's on Tidal though.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on
Tidal, Apple Music, all the biggins.
Yeah, and SoundCloud. Yeah. Okay. Let's get to the voting here because still nothing from AC. Very disappointing. Still nothing from Kevin Youkilis. But Will Middlebrooks checks in. First vote, Jarren Duran. I should get the Survivor music for the vote.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I should. Jake, make a note of that. I'm gonna come in hot with the Survivor music for the next Clark's Ketchup Series MVP voting. Tom Karen checks in with the next vote. Jarren Duran. He said, "Hungry like the wolf."
I do like when there's reasoning for the pick.
Yeah. Jemai Webster checks in and says, "I'm giving it to Alex Cora. Managed the hell out of that series, so I tip my cap." That's 2 votes Duran, 1 vote Alex Cora. Dave O'Brien. He's talking Sox.
And
he's voting for ketchup. He says, "Tough call, but I'm going Rafaela just for the defense."
Well,
Dave O'Brien. And then the next vote, there's 2 votes. I'm assuming that they voted for the same person. This is the audio submission, as always, from Will Fleming and Lou Merlone from the EEI broadcast booth.
Coming in. Bitches, he stuck. You know what? Better yet, bitch, I'm from Oakland. What that boy say he from got me rolling. Nobody from here say I'm really from Oakland. You posted, nigga.
Fellas, the only thing to say is what the fuck is up? Maybe for the last time ever from the booth in this godforsaken hellhole that is the Oakland Coliseum, it is time to drizzle some ketchup.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been so long. It feels like we didn't do it all of August, all of September. It is great to be back with you. Steve Coley, welcome back. But today I'm not alone. I mean, we just had a series sweep in Oakland. The Red Sox just roll over these AAA Oakland A's, and it's not just Will, it is Loomer. Loomer! What's going on?
We got to get the hell out of this piece of shit stadium. Take 3 and move on. I don't want to see it anymore. I don't care if it's got the best surface in baseball. There's 22 people at every freaking game. It's miserable.
The dance circle was going. The pitching continued. Pivetta's screaming at middle infielders. The bullpen dominant, Lou. This sort of continues what we saw in Seattle. This club, I mean, it wasn't perfect here in Oakland, but there are a lot of things that they promised out of camp that they delivered on.
I forgot Tanner Houck threw a gem the first game here, to be honest with you, last couple of days. They're throwing the ball. They're catching the ball. How about Rafaela?
Yeah,
How badly do you want to see him catch that ball today, that first one? Because it's been an absolute show with him out in center field. It's been nice. You came here to beat these guys 3 times. You did. You tried your ass off to give this last one to them. They just weren't good enough to take advantage of it.
Right.
I don't know, having some fun. Is that allowed? Are we allowed to have some fun?
I do believe we are. I think this does have a chance to be a really fun season. You know, this is sometimes these Clark's Ketchup MVP votes can be pretty difficult. I mean, look, when you sweep a series, Rafaela, you mentioned, they probably don't win at least one of these games without his glove in center field. There was great pitching up and down, but this one does feel sort of like a slam dunk because don't you think one guy stood out?
Yeah, the Blondie. No question about it. Jaron Duran. I mean, what, 9 for 12, got drilled a couple times. How many bags did he have in this series? 5, whatever it was. He's absolute menace. I like the blonde hair. Keep the blonde hair. But if he's doing that on top of your lineup, you're all set. I mean, that was a lot of fun to watch with him.
4 for 4 today, 9 hits in the series, 8 of them the other way. He almost tied Ricky Henderson's record from 1989. So, yes, the first Clark's Ketchup Series MVP of 2024 is Jaron motherfucking Duran.
Yeah.
Will's the best.
He's best.
And Lou.
He's best.
Yeah, I think they're going to do them together moving forward.
I like that we didn't know. He just pops, hey, I'm here. Let's get the hell out of here. Like that was good.
That was great.
Yeah. Yeah. They always bring the heat. Okay. So this can still be swayed, but there's still been only one other player voted for besides Duran, and that's Rafael. He has 1 vote. Steve, this is your first time voting on the panel since there's been a panel. I will defer to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hitting 750 in the series, 2 RBIs, 3 runs, 4 steals, got plunked twice, and had a 1536 OPS.
Wow.
It's Jaron Duran. Adding my vote to the list.
Okay. T-Dog?
I'm going to go Ceddanne Rafaela. Simply for the case, the game yesterday, if he doesn't make that grab, it's a totally different game. You end up losing. Today, a run scores that was on second base. It's a tie game and anything could have happened. And if you're telling me Kenley came in with the tie game there or whatever it was, it feels like that was a game they would end up losing. So I'll give it to Ceddanne Rafaela. I think his defense was the game changer. And on a day where you played shit defense today, you needed that more than ever.
Okay. Coley Mick.
I don't disagree with the point that the defense probably won more games. I'm shocked Story has no votes. I thought he would have several votes. Like, he was really good this series, and he has no votes. And I'm going
That being said,
Jaron Duran.
Yeah. Jake.
I was gonna go Jaron Duran, but I forgot how much I missed Lou and Will over the offseason. And the vibes they just brought were impeccable. So I'm going Lou and Will.
Okay. It's a good vote. It's a good pick. Yeah, I mean, for the numbers that Steve laid out, I mean, it's very hard to hit 750 in a series and not be the most valuable player. And it goes beyond just, I hit 750 in the series. I mean, the dude's swiping bags. He's going first to third. He's driving in runs. He's just causing chaos on the base paths, playing defense. And I think the mullet, the blonde mullet, is responsible for some of the vibes too. Like, I think it's kind of just like, people are talking shit. Let's give them something to not talk shit about, and we'll go out there and play good ball, look like a bunch of assholes, and win some baseball games. So I think, especially with the dancer, I mean, it's like, hey, we are carefree. You can say whatever you want about us. It's not going to matter. We don't take ourselves seriously over here. We're just going to continue to win ball games and have fun doing it. That's what it's all about. So my vote for Clark's Ketchup Series MVP and the first Clark's Ketchup Series MVP of the 2024 season belongs to Jarren Duran. Congratulations to Jarren Duran, Clark's Ketchup Series MVP. Shout out to Clark's Ketchup. Drizzle that ketchup for another year of sponsoring the segment. We're very excited to have Clark's back. Again, thank you to all the voters. We're hoping to, the next time the Red Sox win a series, which will maybe be this series against the Angels. We're about to get there right now. That we will have Alex Cora and Kevin Youkilis will rejoin the panel. But until that happens, for now, it is the Stop and Shop Look Ahead, brought to you by Stop and Shop. Head on down to Stop and Shop and use the promo code Section 10. That'll get you 10 cents off each tangerine when you buy at least 5 pounds of tangerines only at Stop and Shop using the promo code Section 10. It's going to be Cutter Crawford versus Griffin Canning. We're off tomorrow, by the way. If you're listening, enjoy your off day. Haven't had one yet. Enjoy that. It's very weird to not have the off day after opening day, which I hate, by the way. It's not like I want it. I fucking hate the off day after opening day. First off day of the season. Cutter Crawford versus Griffin Canning. That's on Friday at 8:38 or 9:38, Eastern. Garrett Whitlock versus Reed Detmers. That's on Saturday, another 9:38 p.m. start. And then the finale, Tanner Houck versus Chase Silseth. Whoever the fuck that is, it's a 4:07 start. So again, if you're listening to this, we will be recording the Angel Series podcast on Monday because I'm not missing WrestleMania. Steve too. Steve was like, I can't.
I actually enforced this. You were like, let's do Sunday. I said, hell no, brother. We got to do Monday.
Yeah. And after this, we were doing Steve's selections with his top 10 WrestleMania matches. Did you not remember?
No, I did.
Okay. All right. After the Stop and Shop Look Ahead, we're going to close out with Steve's selections. Top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. Very much looking forward to that. Cutter Crawford, first time out, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 0 earned, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Cutter first implemented his sweeper in June of 23 when it peaked at 11% usage. It dwindled all the way down to 7% by September. In his first start of the season this year, the sweeper was his number 1 pitch at 37% usage. Andrew Bailey working miracles on me. Cutter Crawford was dramatically better on the road than at home last year. At home, 6 ERA. On the road, 2.49. His velocity was slightly down across the board. His cutter most notably had 1.2 mile per hour dip. You've got Griffin Canning. His first time out, 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned. Got his dick kicked in there. Canning missed all of 2022 with an injury. Came back with a 4.32 and a 1.24 whip. So I guess I'm gonna say he sucks. Garrett Whitlock, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned. Did not walk anybody. 8 strikeouts. The changeup is back. T-Dog. He used it 31% of the time. Kept the Mariners 1 for 5 with a single and 1 strikeout on the changeup. Slider was his best pitch in his debut, though. Hitters went 1 for 5 with a single on that. And every out was a strikeout. Whitlock, he allowed 10 batted balls all night, and only 2 of those were hard hit. His sinker was down about half a mile an hour, but everything else was harder. The changeup was up about 2 miles an hour, and the slider was up about 2 miles an hour. Reed Detmers. One thing about Reed Detmers is that he's going to walk people and he's going to strike out people. That is a Reed Detmers guarantee. Got 12 whiffs his first time out. Good for a 55% clip on his four-seamer. Can't imagine throwing a four-seamer in 2024. That's loser shit. Okay, he went out against the Orioles, so of course they're going to get your dick kicked in. Tanner Houck, 6 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 10 strikeouts, which happened against the A's. His slider was dancing against the A's. 9 whiffs on 19 swings with only 2 balls put in play. 9 whiffs, 8 foul balls, 2 in play. He also only allowed 2 balls in the air all night, which he only bettered once in 2023. His third time through the order issue, which we've beaten into the ground. Last year, hitters were hitting 307 with a 937 OPS against him. The third time through the order. We only have a small sample size here, but 1 for 3 with a single, but he did punch out 2 his third time through the order. He's going up against Chase Silseth, who went 3 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, did walk 2, struck out 5. Last year, he made 8 starts, 8 relief appearances with an ERA of about 4. He walked an alarming 26 batters in 52 1/3 innings, but he did have a strikeouts per 9 of 9.6. Throws about 94. He's got a sweeper, slider, splitter. Did manage 14 whiffs in his first start, but it was against the Marlins, who suck. Okay. Series prediction time. It is Cutter Crawford versus Griffin Canning. It is Garrett Whitlock versus Reed Detmers. It is Tanner Houck versus Chase Silseth. I'm going to ask first and foremost, Jake, what do you think is going to happen in this series against the Halos?
Another scheduled sweep for the Sox, especially against
scheduled.
the Angels.
So you're not even mildly concerned about the Angels.
No, that's an easy sweep.
Okay. All right. Lock it in. Jake with the sweep against the Angels. Coley, how do you feel about this series this weekend?
The not scoring any runs remains troublesome for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team who beat the Orioles. Like that's more than I can say about the A's. You know what I mean? They've got that going for them. Trout feels locked in from the times I have checked in on the Angels. It feels like I saw someone say he's going to have the first 40 home run, 40 RBI season in MLB history. I don't think that's unattainable for MT. I wouldn't pitch to him once the entire series. Not once. Let the rest of those idiots try and beat you.
The Angels scored 10 runs today.
Fine with it. They got them out of their system.
And they're 4-2.
Swept the Marlins, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have the Marlins won yet?
Renhefo.
0-7.
Yeah.
Renhefo's hitting 300 with an 800 OPS. I forgot Aaron Hicks was on this team. That's crazy.
Sure is.
Taylor Ward is hitting 320 with a 1080 OPS. Hoppy hitting 438 with an 1175. Mike Trout hitting 273 with a 1015 OPS.
Yeah.
There's some guys.
There's not.
There's some guys. What was your prediction, Coley?
I didn't give one.
Okay, let's hear it.
My biggest prediction is I think a lot of people are going to go to their phone, open the Underdog Fantasy app, and they're going to punch in code Carabas, get a $100 deposit match bonus when they deposit $100. That's $200 right there. It's your own $100 that you've contributed, and then we're just going to give $100 right back to you so you can play. I was trying to look at some of our guys' numbers in LA, Anaheim specifically. No one really stands out. Now, to be fair, I was targeting like Tyler O'Neill, who played for the Cardinals, Masataka Yoshida, who's been here for a year, and Manuel Valdez, who's played like 17 career games. So maybe not the best three guys to go ahead and look at for career numbers against the Angels, but those are three guys I feel good about right now. Valdez, I saw Tyler put it in some of his notes. Is he going to make this Vaughn Grissom conversation maybe a little sticky by the time he gets up here? He's one of the only guys to have left the ballpark for this team. I think he does it again this week, personally.
Wow. I like that take. T-Dog.
I'm going to go 2 out of 3. I'm going to take the first 2. I see Garrett Whitlock, and I think back to what Garrett Whitlock did, last late April when he had his kind of breakout start, 7 innings, 1-run ball. That team had Shohei Ohtani on it.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking. They no longer do. And I think Cutter Crawford versus Griffin Canning. I like Cutter Crawford in that matchup. Tanner Houck in the last one, I think it's going to get a little bit weird, but the offense is waiting to break through. I refuse to believe is some of these weirdos on Twitter who want to tell you Tristan Casas is a bust or whatever. He's due for a homer. I'm waiting for Tristan Casas to go deep. This feels like a good time. I think we have a big series from him. Trevor Story, it'd be nice to see some consistency on that front, but we'll see. But these are the kind of spots. There's no one here. Detmers is really good, but even he's a lefty. I feel like this could be a spot where Trevor Story makes a little noise.
Steve, did you go?
No, I had similar stuff jotted down that T-Dog just mentioned. I think Sox 2 out of 3. I think Casas is about to turn it on. Home opener for the Angels on Friday. Will there be a flyover? That's what I'm looking out for after we get the off day here. And I think Friday and Sunday would be the wins. Like Coley had mentioned, the offense has to get going. Bats got to get going. Let's get some timely hits. Let's get some big 2-out hits. And I think Jake could be right again. This could be a sweep. But I'm going to go 2 out of 3.
Okay. I actually completely agree with you, Steve. I have 2 out of 3, and I like the opener and the finale for the wins. I think they're going to have a devil of a time with Reed Detmers being the lefty, and you've got your biggest bats, so to speak, are left-handed, and Casas hasn't gotten it going yet, and Devers, apparently his arm is falling off, so I don't necessarily love that matchup. So yeah, I got 2 out of 3, and it's an Oreo cookie. It's an Oreo cookie series where they will lose the middle game. So that's everybody's picks, yeah? Yeah?
I didn't actually give a pick. I was going to go 2 out of 3, though.
Okay.
There you go.
These
teams are tied for the longest winning streaks in baseball. 4 games.
Oh, okay. All right. Now it's time, before we get out of here, it's time for Steve's selections with the top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. What, Steve?
What the Rock is cooking.
What?
I hate to say it after what happened last week, but is Weather Look Ahead suspended for now?
Yes.
Okay.
Until further notice.
Fine. All right. That's fine.
So Steve's selections, top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm very excited here.
Yep.
I prepped a lot of stuff for this, so here we go.
Yep. This is huge.
At number 10. We got Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair.
Yeah, that's a fucking awesome match. I mean, if this is number 10, I can't wait to see where the list goes. I mean, like, that finish is iconic because, why was it iconic, Steve?
It was iconic because Ric Flair didn't want to retire. And Vince McMahon explained that Flair could remain a wrestler as long as he kept winning.
Right, yeah. It also, that was the... it's a gif that gets used all the time, where it's when Shawn Michaels looks at Ric Flair and he goes, "I'm sorry, I love you," and then he kicks him in the face and pins him. It's actually the gif that I used when I beat Red Sox stats in that Twitter tournament. Go ahead, Steve. What's number 9?
Number 9, The Ultimate Warrior versus Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah.
WrestleMania 12.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's
that
a good
one,
Randy Savage.
I mean, who could forget it? Who could forget that one for
Which
many
WrestleMania
reasons?
was that?
WrestleMania 12.
Yeah, WrestleMania 12. That was a good one.
Yep. Might have even been WrestleMania 7. All right, at
Could
number
have
8.
been WrestleMania 7. Yeah, number 8.
It was Daniel Bryan versus Batista versus Randy Orton, brother.
Batista. Oh yeah, he walks alone, brother. Yeah, what was your favorite part of that match?
I mean, the events that led to Daniel Bryan being the hero of WrestleMania 30 will always be one of the more fascinating stories in wrestling history.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you.
Number 7.
Yep. What's number 7?
Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. WrestleMania 37.
That match sucked.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. All right.
They put on what might be WrestleMania's greatest women's match ever.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah. Until this year, when Becky Lynch challenges Rhea Ripley for the women's title. Yep.
She does the butt in the face thing, right?
Yeah. That's Rhea Ripley. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 6.
Number 6.
Steve Austin versus The Rock.
Oh, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock they had multiple matches at WrestleMania. So
WrestleMania 19, of course.
WrestleMania 19. Wow. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh, this gets me going.
Yeah, you love this shit. Yeah.
Number 5.
Number five.
Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels.
Shawn HBK. That was the ladder match?
WrestleMania 10, brother.
Yeah. You love Shawn Michaels, I bet.
He's one of my favorites.
Why do they call him Mr. WrestleMania?
Because he's always there, brother, and he delivers.
He delivers. He is one of the best WrestleMania performers of all time. You are right about that, no doubt. No doubt. Number 4.
Number 4, I got the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian versus those Dudley's boys.
Yeah, that's who could forget that match where you had some of the best tag teams maybe of all time just going head to head. What a match. What a match that was.
They gave it their all to finish the trilogy, and it still holds up, in my opinion, as one of the best and most chaotic ladder matches of all time, brother.
Yep. That's hard to deny that.
Number 3.
Yep, number 3.
I got The Rock versus Hollywood Hogan. WrestleMania.
Oh my God, brother. That's
9.
That is one of the best. One of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. We still got 2 spots to go. Holy shit.
This gets me going too.
Yeah. Coley.
I just want to shout out whoever's playing the electric guitar on this song. It just goes the fuck in. Like while he's just strutting out there staring at the crowd, someone's just wailing on that sucker.
Yeah. Like, ready? Here it comes. All right, number 2.
Number 2. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. WrestleMania 25.
Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. In my personal opinion is it should be number 1. So I don't know what number 1 is going to be because this match right here, some would call it not just the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Some people are calling this the greatest wrestling match of all time. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. So, number 1 better be good, Steve. Number 1 better be good.
The number one best WrestleMania match of all time, brother. Bret Hart versus Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13.
I mean, that's an iconic match. It's an iconic match because that's the match where Stone Cold Steve Austin is just bleeding out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
But this match right here, that's it. It puts Stone Cold on the map. I mean, WrestleMania 14, Stone Cold versus HBK, when he finally wins the title.
Obviously.
That's like the birth of Stone Cold Steve Austin and everything like that. But like this match right here, WrestleMania 13, put Austin on the map. So
Austin, I mean, let's be honest. He became the hero WWF needed, while Bret Hart acquired a new coat of paint, and wrestling would never be the same.
Never be the same. Wow. Steve's selections. That's a great list. There'll be debate over, I feel like you picked all the right matches except for that Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks match.
True.
Outside of that, a lot of all-time classics in there. We can debate where they belong in the top 10, but those are the hits, brother.
Of course. Had fun doing it, of course.
Has a closer used The Undertaker's music to walk out to?
Hansel Robles.
Obviously. I mean,
what do you mean other than?
I mean,
0 ERA in September 21.
Other than like a legend, I'm saying, like, has some asshole tried to do it?
No, not to my knowledge.
Dude, there was nothing like the 6th inning when that music starts playing. Like, what are we doing here? Robles.
Yeah, he did do that. Okay. Did I miss anything, Jake?
I think we fucking
Tyler.
nailed it.
Yeah, we nailed it.
Larry Lucchino.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Oh yeah. Yep. Rest in peace, Larry Lucchino. We don't have the World Series titles without Larry. This was someone that came in here during a time when, I mean, even Pedro was like, tear the motherfucker down. Like, get like Fenway as we know it exists because Larry came in and was like, no. Like, I understand you guys want a new ballpark, but how about we keep this one and just make it better? Can we do that? And even when he said that, there was much resistance. I remember in Boston, people were like, no. Like, they had the Save Fenway bumper stickers, but then there was also people saying, like, this is our chance while we still have area to build a new ballpark, like down by the water, like the seaport. They wanted to put like the new ballpark down there. Like, we're wasting an opportunity. Like, get in there while we still have the space to do it. And Larry was like, no. Like, Fenway is the most iconic ballpark. And from the second they walked through the door in 2002, the initiative was not just to preserve Fenway, it was to modernize Fenway. It was to add seating capacity. The monster seats in 2003. It like, if you've ever been to like the subway in New York City and how shitty and cold and like dungeon like it is, that's what like the Fenway Concourse used to be before this ownership group came in. Like, if you're like, Tyler's age, Jake's age, back in the 90s, like, if you want to go take a piss at Fenway, you'd basically, like, they used to have like the troughs. You had to piss in a big community sink at Fenway before. So they totally just changed the culture in every way that you can change that culture, from the ballpark to the attitude. And, I've been saying this about Larry for like the last year over here in regards to like, they need that iron fist. Larry was the iron fist. John was the money. He was also kind of, if you think about your parents' dynamic, where it's like, yeah, I have like a father who's tough love, and I have my mother who is the voice of reason, and she's sensitive and warm. That was kind of John. And Larry was the dad who would whip you with the belt to teach you a lesson. Sometimes you need that dad to whip you with the belt. And Larry was that, and he gave this organization the attitude that it needed at the perfect time that it needed it. When the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry was at its peak, and you had Larry calling the Yankees the evil empire, when there were bidding wars over free agents, and when Curt Schilling himself, I know how people feel about him now, but at the time, this was the guy that was going to put you over the top, and he was choosing between the Red Sox or the Yankees. And you had Theo Epstein show up and the ownership group go to his house on Thanksgiving and say, hey, here's why you should sign an extension with the Red Sox. You should accept it straight to the Red Sox and then sign here. And he was like, you know what? Fuck yeah. Like, I get it now. I see the vision. That doesn't happen without someone like Larry being aggressive and saying, let's go to this motherfucker's house on Thanksgiving. Like, I know that, it's a holiday, but how serious are we about winning a championship? It's been 86 years. Like, let's fuck it. Are we doing this or not? Did we buy this team to make money and sit around, or do we buy this team to win multiple World Series titles? All right, well, this is the big game picture that we need to do that. Oh, our bullpen, we have no fucking closer. Let's go get the best closer. Let's go get Keith Folk. Let's go get some guys with balls. Let's go get some guys with character. And it wasn't just about sticking it to the Yankees, which was a big part of it. It's let's win a World Series. Let's win multiple World Series titles. And not taking failure lightly. Hey, we sucked this year. All right, let's go out and take the world by storm this offseason. And that was a lot. I mean, I understand there were multiple people involved in this, but that was a lot of Larry Lucchino's influence. And it existed outside of Boston. You can look at Petco Park. You can look at Camden Yards. You can look at Polar Park. Larry's fingerprints are all over that. Like he's in the Hall of Fame of all those teams. He's in like the Orioles Hall of Fame, the Padres Hall of Fame, the fucking Woo Sox Hall of Fame, the Paw Sox Hall of Fame, the Red Sox Hall of Fame. Like the dude is a baseball lifer. And the crazy part is that he's a basketball player. he played basketball in college and then just like had this money to go out there and be like, you know what? I'm gonna have my fingerprints all over baseball history with some of. I mean, if you ask people, hey, what are the best ballparks in baseball, right? This isn't even me just blowing smoke because I'm talking about Larry's legacy. Petco Park is going to be a top 5 park. Camden Yards is going to be a top 5 park. And Fenway Park is going to be a top 5 park. And that's all because of Larry Lucchino. So it's a sad loss, but a hell of a legacy to leave behind. And on a personal note, my career basically got jump-started by Larry Lucchino. I mean, I started my blog in 2006, but his like the Red Sox Nation president thing, like my first time on TV, my first time meeting Jerry Remy, like my first time getting introduced to all the people within the Red Sox that I now know today and can say that I've known for almost 20 years. That's because like Larry Lucchino was like, hey, like let's be more involved with the fans, because before it was kind of like this divide. Larry shows up, he's like, how do we connect more with the fans? And I think what was cool. And I'm not trying to take credit for this, but I tweeted out a letter that Larry had written me in 2010. And then after I tweeted that out, I started to see other people being like, Larry wrote me a letter too. And now they're sure, like Larry would just like, there was, I can't remember the guy's name. It's just like a random baseball fan. But like he was talking about how like I grew up a diehard Red Sox fan, but my son, he's deciding between like the Red Sox or the Yankees. And Larry was like, no, fuck that. Here's a Red Sox hat. Here's a Red Sox jersey. Here's tickets. Like, let's make sure that he's a Red Sox fan for life. And like wrote this dude a letter and like threw all this stuff in for his son. So that's the type of guy that he was. Like, he wasn't just like, hey, let me make the Padres better. Let's make the Orioles better. Let's make the Red Sox better. It's, hey, let's make Fenway Park better. Let's make the team better. Let's win championships. Let's connect with the fans. And it was just all encompassing. Like, that's what he made his life's work about, was making baseball a better place. So that will be his legacy. That's how I will remember him. Rest in peace, Larry Lucchino.
He felt like as close as we were going to get to one of us being in the front office. Like Larry, the times I talked to him, very few, but it was outside of Fenway when the team sucked on the last day of the season. He would be there taking photos with fans and asking them their feedback. And it felt like he was actually listening. You look at the Red Sox front office and, John Henry, Warner, it's like, I don't know if we can really relate with these guys. We could relate with Larry Lucchino. We could actually have a conversation about baseball, what we love about Fenway, what we love about the Red Sox. And it felt like he actually listened. Jared, we were talking about what parks we wanted to go to this season. And we mentioned Petco. We mentioned Camden Yards. Like, those are two of the first ones that came to mind.
I bet we're going to go to Fenway, too.
Yeah, we're probably going to go to Fenway. I heard it's really good, but I'm excited to check it out.
I still got to check out Polar Park, too, by the way.
Yeah, true. Actually, we genuinely do have to do that. But I love how much Larry cared about a ballpark that felt like a ballpark, that was unique to that team, that was unique to that city. He cared about having ballparks that were in the downtown area of the city. Petco Park, if you haven't been there, I mean, Camden Yards is incredible, too. Petco Park's right up there, as one of the best in all of baseball. Right by the San Diego Harbor, right by Coronado, right by the main, street there in San Diego. It's such a great location. I love how they incorporated that warehouse from the early 1900s to be the left field foul pole. Like, Larry cared about that stuff and made a huge impact on baseball. And I was thankful to see the reaction he got. What was it, yesterday? I mean, it wasn't just the Red Sox thing. Like, everyone around baseball was reacting to the Larry Lucchino news. And yeah, he deserves all the praise that he's getting.
I think even when you look at Polar Park, right, and that was like the last chapter of his kind of legacy, the stuff he was doing even up until this past year, Ed Hand had put out like a great story about being in the clubhouse, and Larry Lucchino was still going around to the players this past September. Obviously, he sold the, everything with the Woo Sox over the offseason, but was handing out bonuses to them, doing all this different stuff, still so involved. And for people who don't keep up with minor league baseball and you wonder what Polar Park is, Baseball Digest had them as the number one AAA experience out of everything. Better than Nashville, better than anything else you want to say. So when you talk about as great as Camden Yards is or Petco or any of these things, that's what Polar Park will be for minor league baseball in an era where people don't give a fuck about minor league baseball. In terms of going to the games and properly supporting those things, he went to a place like Worcester and gave it life and gave it energy. And from a place like Brockton that gets compared to Worcester a lot, that's crazy. That means a ton. And Joe Castiglione was talking about it, like, called him the most important exec in Red Sox history. Well, yeah, you're going to get that title when you bring Theo Epstein to this front office. And it is scary to look at the conversations we were having, on Name Redacted or just in general about hoping Theo can play that Larry Lucchino role going forward and maybe do something similar and be that kick in the ass that John Henry needs. But that speaks to it. The fact that we look at him as that kind of important of a voice and that kind of figure, he'll forever be part of Red Sox history.
Any final thoughts?
One thing to add, Jerry, this involves you. It's an underdog initiative here. You got Purdue, dude. You got to sign Purdue.
Yeah,
and
I do have Purdue.
Yeah, so go to the Underdog Picks account on the Twitter machine and click on the form there and join Jerry and pull in for Purdue. If Purdue wins the title, you guys split $100,000. So yeah, you should probably do that.
100K. We love that. Please do that. They're the 1 seed. I know that they're not UConn, but come on.
The best chance to beat UConn. So they got a shot.
Let's go Purdue. Jake's takes?
I still just can't believe Tyler read his haikus during the suspension music.
That was crazy.
They tried to trade half the team.
Yeah, he did. He was like, hey, I know it's the first week. I know we're 7 games into the season, but let's talk fire sale.
I know we're the 2
I'm not
seed,
bringing up a trade for the
get
rest of the year.
Yeah. Yep.
But also, if anyone should be familiar with suspension music, it's Tyler. So
true.
Makes it even.
That's a great point, Jake. How do you not know the suspension music? You hear it more than anybody.
We all have bad days.
Okay. All right. We'll be back on Monday because Steve demanded that we move the pod for WrestleMania. We'll be back on Monday. Don't miss us too much. Enjoy your weekend of Red Sox baseball. We'll see you then.
Buenas noches, amigos.